let's call the work session of May 13th, 2015 to order, if we could, please. 7:03 p.m. We'll let the minutes reflect that the entire board is here, as well as some members of staff, and a very distinguished-looking audience has joined us this evening as well. And so with that, our first order of business is the minutes. We have our April 22nd, 2015 minutes before us, and would entertain a motion of approval of those minutes.
I'll move.
A second.
Moved by Rob, seconded by Paula. Any discussions, comments, updates, changes, or otherwise? Okay, seeing none, the minutes will stand approved as written. Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate that. Monthly reports. I think all of our monthly reports have finally made their way in. Thank you, Mr. Valentine, and others that.
I wasn't early this month.
I know you were. You came in, so we've
Except
got
for last month.
everything in hand. So that's worked out well. Tonight we do not have any public hearings. We do not have any official guests. So we'll move right into our action items. And our first action item is a carryover from a meeting or two ago. Our friends from the American Legion at 1707 Penfield Road certainly would invite them to the table if they would like to join us. And with that, I would ask our Director of Planning and Town Engineer, Mr. Valentine, if he would take the lead, as he has been having some discussions and dialogue. So,
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Actually, the packet I just passed out to the board actually has two pieces. The first we're talking about is the carryover. We talked about a few weeks ago. We've looked at the board's request what the improvements to what was Old Washington Street would cost. Got in touch with Bob Moore with the DPW. We went out there and looked at it with him. He came back, kind of the second page in, kind of says what he estimated it needed, went through it, summarized it up. I kind of just put it in a little spreadsheet on the top just to kind of total it for the board. We met out there with these fine gentlemen from the American Legion, looked at it, looked at their concerns, both with the condition of the road and also with the issue of the kind of the slope coming up and turning back into Penfield Road. The board had asked us to look at whether that could be straightened out. We did look at it, but you're chasing grade. It kind of goes up the hill, so it would make it a much steeper entrance to move it or to realign it from where it is today. So we basically concentrated on, if we modify the entrance as it is now, how could we make it better? So we looked at bringing in some material. As you come off the road, you kind of make that turn down and it dips off quickly. So if we could bring in some extra material, fill that up a little bit, raise it up so you kind of come up, you're more at a flat level grade with the road. Square it up as well at the top so you can look up the road, see more clearly. It's not looking behind you. Look, it's more 90 degrees as a normal intersection, and then turn from there. So I had Bob add that into there. That's why you're looking at 40 ton of asphalt, is to lift that portion up and then to repave that portion of what was Old Washington Street all the way down to where their current driveway entrance starts to their parking lot. So this
right at the property line,
right at the
if you
property
will.
line. Yep. So the 40 ton of asphalt includes the fill amount that's needed in there to raise that piece up and then taper that all the way out. Included that with the laborers, the paver crew, with the operators, the roller, the dump truck, and then there's some prep work that needs to go into it, filling the cracks, patching and stuff ahead of time, removal of the existing concrete bollards that are out there. We would take those out, and then some topsoil work at the end to kind of backfill that in. So we came up with roughly $8,300 was an approximate cost with materials, labor, and equipment kind of all rolled into that.
Okay, all right. And then that gets us, just kind of the best of all the worlds based on what we're dealing with or faced with. Meaning that coming out on that angle, trying to get the best sight distance possible, raising it up a bit, trying to make that at least as good as we can, based on the contours that are there at that area.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Board questions for Mark?
Just real quickly, the labor support, the town
town crews, or is that
Yeah,
outside?
this
help?
is all with town crews. We would have our people out there. I think the labor support's doing some of the topsoil. We talked about striping that portion of it, you know, to indicate how people kind of get a line straight, so you're not coming at an angle out. You pull out and square them up. At the entrance, we could stripe at least that first part of it there. But this is with all town crews doing the work.
So, Tony, are we looking tonight to authorize this and then go to resolution for next week? Is that what?
Yeah, what I would say that what we're doing is looking to, and I wouldn't say that we'd even have to take it to resolution. I would say just to require approval by the board tonight. We do have the money in the budget.
I was gonna ask
So that's the first
Is
question.
that this year's budget?
That's 2015, yes.
Okay.
We have the money in the budget, and, you know, the work is being done within our right-of-way. So we'd be looking to schedule it over the next, you know, handful of weeks or a month to get it done and taken care of this particular construction
So
season.
no additional work regarding any releases or anything like that needs to be done. And if this is Bob's memo regarding 1 day of prep work and then an anticipated 4 to 5 additional hours. So a
Yep.
relatively small job for
Yeah, it's
DPW.
basically a 2-day job,
Essentially.
given weather and
Yep, yep.
staffing levels.
I'm in favor of moving
I am
forward.
too.
No, I think it's the right thing
Okay.
to do, especially the safety consideration too, will be addressed. And that's
Yep,
important.
yeah, we talked with the members, met them out there, explained, you know, what we were thinking and, you know, what we're doing with that, and I believe, you know, they all thought that was
thought it was a good idea.
Yeah,
an acceptable,
compared to what it is right now.
And Mark, can you project then as far as, you know, when this job is done, what are we looking at in terms of, how long does this last? You know, what's the future maintenance or?
I mean,
just, is it,
bringing up the improvements like this, I think we have some other possible improvements to Penfield Road itself. Typically, about a year or two per inch of asphalt you add into there. Like any road, we'd have to do crack sealing or some
Okay.
other improvements to that. But this would, you know, definitely prove it. I don't think anything's been done to it in the last 20 or 30 years at least.
Right.
So, you know, I think any work that's done to it, but, you know, this is more than just a oil and stone. You know, we are looking
Yeah.
for some, you know, integral improvements to it, which should
Raising it quite a bit.
raise the life of it. It's not a highly traveled area, so I don't see any, you know,
the
major wear and tear.
deterioration is due to time more than excessive
Right.
travel on that, or
Right.
excessive weight?
And I would guess because most of the traffic that comes and goes from here is, you know, the residential type. You know, cars,
Yeah,
light
it's
trucks
not heavy-
is
heavy
a
truck
majority of it.
volume, tractor trailers and stuff that,
Yeah.
That beats it up, so,
Let's move forward.
okay. All right, so that's item one.
Item number one.
Item number one.
While we had these gentlemen here, they also included an application, or submitted an application a couple weeks ago for a grade and fill permit. On the same drawing you had in front of you, they had kind of a sketched off area that they were looking to bring some fill in the back. I did go out there, some of the fill is there already. Did take a look at it, it is stabilized as it is now. We need to get some topsoil on it, get some grass on it. I shared it with them to do that, but they're formalizing that application before you this evening. That's the fill-in grade permit, that's the second item in here. So I thought while they were here this evening, if you had any questions of them, I took a look at it, I shared with them, you know, my only concern would be just maintaining the drainage. It doesn't impact the apartments next door. They, you know, assured me that that wasn't gonna be an impact. And then you're using the area as a lawn area, and, you know, an overflow parking, you know, is needed, but it's not gonna be paved or covered over. So it's just kind of an extra added area. The only other area that abuts is the state highway, the state right of way, and there's a fence line there, so it won't extend beyond that
And the
fence
fill's
line.
not coming from very far away, Route 250 Panera Bread.
Yep.
Yep.
So,
Bread there?
Some,
Or
there's
filter?
where to go.
so I think, if, at least as I understand it in conversations that I've had, is that the fill that's there is essentially a bulk of the fill of what you need at this point. And so the next step or the next phase is really to just get a handful of loads of topsoil, just to dress that, get it seeded.
Right, well, Mark did point out while he was there that we have had a couple of places where there was erosion. We'll probably bring in a couple of truck loads more of fill.
Okay.
Put that down, and then topsoil and seeding.
Got it. So then on top
Just to
of
get
that.
a stabilizing angle.
We have to stabilize it and,
Yeah,
smooth it out.
absolutely, absolutely.
I talked with Bob Moore, and he said they had some fill out in the back of the highway. If you would authorize it, they could bring some down. But
Okay.
he said, you have to authorize it.
Well, we just have an understanding to make sure that we're not, we don't get ourselves in this situation of, because we certainly can't drop off fill for all 13,000 parcels that we have in Penfield. So the understanding that I have with the highway is that before we do anything, it comes through me so that I make sure the board is aware of, and I can pass the red face test as to why, some goes here and some doesn't go there, so that we have a consistency overall. So I too have spoken with Bob Moore as well.
Okay.
So
Any time limit that we could get some down there so we can get that finished, that project?
well, this is what I would say. What's your plan right now for your crews to get in there and do that, what I'll call kind of that final grade and seed?
We have a process that we have to go through by our bylaws, and we're going to have to rent some heavy equipment to come in and do that.
Okay.
That has to be brought before the membership. We'll be meeting Thursday.
23rd?
Fourth Thursday.
Yeah, the fourth Thursday.
I got my invitation, so
Yeah, all right.
I've got the date down now.
Great.
Right. It will be the 28th. We'll bring it to them.
Okay.
Okay, to get approval to do that, and after that, once we get the approval, we're good to go.
I would think it's pretty much a sure thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your board looks at it on the 28th, and then you can close the loop back with us, because the thing I think we should try to do is that would like to see if we could coordinate getting the heavy equipment in to do the work before we do the work on the road.
Yeah, that
So
would be good.
that would be the piece, and so what I would encourage doing is certainly working with, and I can use Bob Moore and Rick Gieselman as our 2 point people
Okay.
at our end.
Okay.
Okay, so if you stay in touch, with them, that will also help us schedule for the road work as well.
Right.
And if we need to push that out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I mean, whatever,
That wouldn't
we
make
can
any
just
difference,
we can
really.
just coordinate that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, once we get in there and get it graded, we're finished with the heavy equipment. So.
sure,
Yeah.
that would make sense. Okay.
All right.
All right, board, good
I'm fine with
with
that.
that as well?
And thank you,
Okay.
Mark, for your legwork on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
See,
So-
I'd like to thank Mark for his patience and his work, and for all of you realizing how important this is to us, and how it improves the safety for our members coming in and going out.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
absolutely. And Mark is certainly a very good resource, and has got good follow-up and follow-through, so we appreciate that, and feel free to keep his number for any questions that might come up, because he is a
Will do.
good
He can
resource.
certainly walk you through the fill, just to make sure everything gets done the way it's supposed to be done. He can fill you in.
Yeah, he's
I knew you were gonna get there.
He's really a very good because he pointed out things that we hadn't really seen, like the so that, I think that's a good idea,
Well, at the end, you want to have a project that's a good, solid project.
Right,
And
exactly.
not have problems, down the road, so.
Right.
Yeah, good, excellent.
Very good.
Okay, so Bob Moore, Rick Gieselman, and Mark at our end, Once you've gone through your process, just stay in touch with us if you will.
Right.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Commander.
Tony.
Thank
Good
you.
seeing all of you.
Always a pleasure.
See you on Memorial Day?
You will, and as a matter of fact, if I can say something, we meet for breakfast every Wednesday morning because we really have nothing else to do. But
In the interest of full disclosure.
what,
Where do you meet?
we're going to have, on the real Memorial Day, not your celebration, but
Yes.
the real Memorial Day, we've neglected this too long to honor the Brahmins. So we're gonna put something together and we'll send invitations out. If you can make it,
Would
it
love
would be great.
We will make sure that, that we are able to do
You know,
that as best we can.
it will be very low key. It'll only take 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour of your time, but,
Absolutely.
Great.
That's time
Instrumental in this.
well spent.
right. Okay?
You asked a question. 3 Wednesdays, we meet at the Post. A 4th Wednesday, we meet down to George's Restaurant. Just something a little different. But 3 weeks.
Meet about
We'll
6,
send out a.
6:30 in the morning?
Well,
Hey, look, we have nothing to do but sleep.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
You bet.
Good to
Bye
see you.
now.
All right. They're not early risers, they're, all right, very good. We'll continue to move on. Mark, thank you for that. We will take a look at the setting operational permit and periodic inspection fees, and I don't see Mr. Tet here, so either he's forgot us, going to be here later, or whatever the case is, but we will hold until the end of the agenda, and if he doesn't make it, then I'm guessing he'll join us in 2 weeks. So it couldn't have been quite that important. We'll move on to Chacha's Outdoor Dining, 2124, 2126 5 Mile Line Road. And would ask that, I think a combination of myself and yourself and the board will work ourselves through this in absence of Mr. Costello, who's on I won't say a well-deserved vacation, but is on vacation. All right. So we held the public hearing. I happened to miss that, but did go back to at least review that public hearing. And I know that there has been, some information that has been submitted. Jim Costello has kept us apprised of some things. So let's just do a recap as to where we are and plans and next steps and things like that. So, some information that I gleaned, and I think the board also took away, was we just need to make sure that we have nailed down the number of tables, number of seats that we have on that site, because I think that was I think left a little soft. I think is probably the best way to put that. And I was kind of hoping that Mr. Tet was going to be here, because he did ask for another means of egress or a gate, and I have not personally spoke to him about that. So where are you as it relates to seating, tables, and things like that?
We're looking at 8 tables, 4 per, so that would be 32.
Okay, 32 total.
And the gate again, when you come in, is it only way to the patio is through the restaurant?
Well, you're not in the restaurant, it's outside the restaurant. There's several feet between the patio entrance and the building itself.
Right.
And there's a 10-foot opening or so in the fence to walk in from there.
Well,
It is on the restaurant side of this, I guess, if you want to, it's on the it's between the restaurant and 5 Mile Line Road, I guess.
Yeah,
Oh, I got those, yeah.
You do it.
the patio is a standalone location, it's not attached to the building at all.
Correct.
Well, you have to have people,
We're
seat people. the wait-
Right,
the wait
well, we
staff
have-
can-
The fence starts and stops in these 2 locations.
Right.
Okay, it's basically making
So I
a big.
park, I'm coming to the restaurant, and I want to eat on the patio, what do I do?
You'll probably have to go into the restaurant,
Right.
get your seating, and then you'll be escorted out here.
Okay. So there's not a hostess stand here
No.
where I'm walking and,
No.
okay, I think that was what the confusion was.
Yeah,
is
that you
where-
can't just walk in and sit.
Yeah, you could, well,
But
you might be able to just walk in and sit and someone will bring you, serve you or take your
Okay.
order or something. But I think that they would, on a busy night, they're for sure gonna want. if peop-
Assigned seating, so to
Right.
speak, right?
You have
Or
to-
reserved
You have to see
seating.
the hostess.
Mhm. I think maybe some of the initial confusion was the gate, was this patio going to be attached in such a way that in order to get into the patio area, that you had to physically go in order to get into the
No.
patio?
No, it's
And,
freestanding.
and because it is freestanding, so I think that's where, and again, I don't have the benefit of Mr. Tet being here, or Jeff David, our fire marshals, but that may have been the question or the reason why they wanted the
access.
extra gate, because they thought that the only way you could exit was into the restaurant to get out.
No.
Okay, so
that's
I think
not the
that was part of the
Okay.
potential confusion that was there. Okay.
'Cause I think in the event of some type of an emergency where you'd actually have to get out of that in a hurry, it's only a 3-foot fence.
just jump
And you
over
could
it.
either hop that, or if this is
Oh, you-
10 foot wide, so you could easily, I mean, that accommodates many, many folks.
Right, and you can get out and go both ways.
Well, and also emergency access coming in, if there's an emergency, a medical emergency, and you need someone to get in,
Yeah,
a
the way
stretcher or
they do
whatever.
they do the sidewalk thing, you come right through there. There's no restriction on the width of, for them coming into here. Yeah, it might be the dimension line that they might think was.
Yeah, that's,
kinda-
I'm just, as
Right.
I'm looking at the maps, that could have been where some of the question or the confusion may have come in, that in order to get in, you had to access, through the restaurant, and hence why he may have been looking at another access point, so, okay.
Is the plan to have this area, the stamped concrete as well?
No, that would be just a broom finish concrete.
Okay.
It'll look different than the rest. It'll be normal gray color,
Okay.
where this will be, the finish stain color in this
Right.
area.
And then
Like a
this would
sidewalk
be,
almost.
this would still be sort of that, just regular asphalt that's
This
out
would
there
be
right now.
finished asphalt,
Abutting the sidewalk.
abutting the sidewalk. This will be, yes, replaced essentially, because it's asphalt now, and it'll have to get dug up when we're doing all this work.
Yep, got it. Okay,
And this is the right of way here, and we're back from that, so we're staying out of that.
okay,
Looks good.
all right,
So,
go ahead.
well, I was gonna ask, because I know Ed brought it up, and I was thinking the same thing about the ingress and egress now, sort of how with the patio there, is there a way to wrap sort of traffic flow around the back of the building? And I guess, Tony, the question is, when we sort of have preliminary visions of how we wanna tailor or remake the parking in that quadrant, is that conducive to having sort of an in-only on the south side of the building, and then having parking along the side and the back, but having sort of an exit only at that point? Or would that not work with? sort
Yeah,
of the
I would
grand
say
plan?
that you need to, this will need to be maintained, and I think was as part of the access easements across would be maintained as both in and out on this side here. And I don't recall on this side here, Sam, I think it was left, I think predominantly it goes in, people use it for in.
Typically,
but-
yes.
But it's not, there was nothing there, and again, I just have to pull out those documents, there's nothing there that says you couldn't access
correct, right,
through
it's two
there
ways,
as well. But this has the width on the north side. This typically, has, the width for one car.
Right.
Because you do have some parking right on that side.
And with the changes now, the parking lot, there's no private parking
Correct.
for the building. It's one thing Jim put on his email, that we need to have those no parking signs taken down behind the building.
They know that. They know that.
Okay.
Sam, I think I already know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it anyways. Are you looking at this becoming a permanent kind of structure as a part of the building? Hopefully in a perfect world, the restaurant will be there for a long time, but let's just say 3 years from now, it's not, and a new restaurant goes in. Are you anticipating this being a part of a future
It's always gonna
restaurant?
be there.
Okay.
We're designing it the right way, it's gonna be very
Okay.
nice. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot of safety issues. People whipping right through the front of it. They park almost on the sidewalk, almost hit the stairs. I mean, it needs to get out of there once
Yeah.
and for all, so this is, it's staying there.
Okay.
Okay.
So the hours are until 10 at night? Is it
Right,
Yes,
what,
10 o'clock, but serving only 9:30, that's
Yeah.
the last, then they gotta go inside.
Then it goes dark, you know, the lighting?
At 10 o'clock, the lights will go up, but they won't serve anybody, you know, 9:30 is the last time that they'll serve anybody out there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, just to reinforce the discussion, no music, no bands that are planned
Correct.
for that area, and certainly that would be a condition of approval that the board would take a look at. And I'm going to follow up on the fire marshal's question or request that he had about the access around that. And then certainly, you know, we did see some landscaping associated with that, and I'm guessing you'll have some more detail, or is this kind of your plan?
Well, we've thought about a couple of different things, and it might boil down to some type of hanging type of baskets off the rail itself for some green in lieu of the boxes, the cedar boxes you've seen there.
Okay.
And I guess that's up to you.
Yeah, you know, it is possible that we'll build those. I kind of see how it lays out. You know, if there is enough room, you know, to put these things out. If they're going to be too much maintenance, I don't know exactly what, but hanging stuff. Jim said there's some options. We just have to kind of figure out what we'd like to see. If
Okay.
that's, you know.
I have a question, I forgot to ask. How long, the patio, the hours of operation, would you think it would last, like May to October, or?
As long as the weather's nice.
Weather's
Would you
nice.
get heaters? I notice everybody's got those little
You know,
heaters going on.
nothing in the plan for that, you know, at the moment, really.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we hit all of the items that either reinforce or to just reconfirm as to where we are. Once you receive approval from the board, what is your anticipated schedule or plan
Yesterday.
that you have?
Yeah, the weather's nice now. We just want to get going. We're ready to go.
Okay.
You
All
know.
right.
I did talk to the fire marshal. I know what he wants, and if it is necessary, we will do it. So no problem.
So share with us, if you will, because we did not have
An
the
egress only, an exit only off
Panic
the,
type of gate.
right off the north side. We figured that was better than the south side, and
Okay.
just typical gate. We're set up to do it if he really believes that it's needed.
Okay.
Now that we've clarified that it is wide open on both sides. If that's
Okay.
the case, we will do that. If that's, you know, holding us up at all, just.
Okay, we'll confirm or reconfirm that, so, okay. Board questions? Good. Okay, so next steps are that resolution will be prepared, submitted on Friday. It'll come before the board next Wednesday, the 20th, you know, for approval based on the discussion that we had on hours of operation, lighting, serving of food, you know, and the appropriate emergency exit if needed or necessary. Okay?
Okay.
All right, great. Other questions, board? Other questions, staff? All right, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, we will next move into the town of Penfield sprinkler alarm. We heard that last Wednesday. I know that was pretty short and sweet. No one spoke, you know, on it either way.
Yeah, it was just the law conforming to the new standards and
Yep.
law.
Yeah, I'm
So
okay moving
if,
forward.
is the board concerned or good with that, then what we can do is we can do a resolution
Yeah.
for that one as well for the 20th and put that in place. Okay, that brings us to Jeremiah's extended outdoor dining hours on Route 250. So with that, welcome to the table. I know the board did receive also some information. So we've received a lot of different information. We've received some additional emails from residents in that area. We did get some information from your end as it related to proposed covered patio area that was submitted. So we've got that from your engineer. So the board has that as well. And I think I saw a note, maybe it was from Jim Costello, that said that you folks would have some additional information on soundproofing.
Well, with the permanent structure, we believe that that's going to reduce any sound going out towards the parking lot for music. So being underneath the enclosure, right now it's just set on the side of the building, so it just shoots right out. So putting it underneath the enclosure.
Okay.
will
So the
reduce
note that I got from Jim says, Julie from Jeremiah has submitted a plan for the proposed covered patio area of the patio for your review. She's looking into soundproofing materials for the interior portion of the roof to muffle sounds, as well as, and we'll get that information to me as soon as possible.
We also could look into putting some Armstrong panels up on top that would maybe lessen the sound.
Do you have that information that is awaiting from Costello?
For,
What Tony just read about the insulating the awning for soundproofing?
it's a permanent structure, it's not an awning. And as far as soundproofing, it's an Armstrong is the name of the product, and we have it in the restaurant as well.
Okay, so there's no further
No.
insulation? Okay.
Good.
They're 2x4 panels that just go up underneath, and it would just deaden the sound. But
Yeah, okay.
they're usually used inside, not outside.
Right.
Understood.
Right. I mean, it's a like a drop ceiling, like what's over your head right now.
Yes.
I mean, essentially, these
Just-
happen to be 2x2s,
Yeah,
but
2x4s. Same
but
thing.
the same type of thing, or same type of concept. Okay. And so we did receive that. As I mentioned, we did have ongoing concerns by some residents regarding noise, that consistent with what we have heard in the past and what we heard at our public hearing as well. So that has been, at least for the record, I want to just make sure everybody's aware that we have received a number of different input and feedback from residents. Suzanne Young raised a concern about extended hours. Suzanne Wilson, I may have said Young, Suzanne Wilson. Michael Young, has talked about that noise aspect of things. And let's see if I got a third one. I think those were the two most recent ones that I did receive. So
I made a request of staff for the history of Don's Pub, because I wanted to see, they're open till midnight, 7 days a week, and obviously for consistency and precedent, I wanted to see back at the time that Don's was approved, what, did they ask for longer than that? Did they get what they asked for? Was there a time period, as we've done recently, where we've had businesses wait? And I have not received that information yet, so I need that to take a look at in terms of
Okay.
moving my thought process forward.
Yeah, the one thing Mike Young had in his email that was different than just saying, questioning the hours, was that the speaker sound, turn off the speakers. It seems to be the one thing they can hear over the neighborhood is when is there a way to deaden that sound so it stays internal versus.
When does he hear the speakers?
Yeah, I read that email too, and there's a part of me that when I was reading it, because he mentioned in it, he doesn't hear it, or he alluded to the fact that he doesn't hear it all the time.
Right.
So then I think, wind issues
Maybe.
that may come into play there. If you get a 30-mile-an-hour wind like we had this morning or this afternoon, you can hear the speakers from Penfield High School,
True.
quarter to a half mile away easily.
Right.
You can hear exactly what they're saying easily. So, you know, I understand his concern, but it didn't sound to me like he was saying it was on a consistent basis.
No.
So maybe, you know, the days he's hearing is just on what happens to be some high wind
Uncontrollable
days.
circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what the speaker sound is. I know when they talk about the daycare center, the speakers are, they're actually speaking out into the playground. Do you have speakers that do that into the patio? I mean, are you?
Like a PA system
Yeah,
for tables
exactly.
being ready? No, we don't do that.
Yeah, I haven't
No, we
seen
have a
that
buzzer
turbines.
system where it just
Yeah.
goes off.
And your televisions aren't loud?
No, we really don't put the sound on the televisions.
Okay.
It's just
So from
background.
my perspective, I just need some more information from staff at this point on
Okay,
Don's. Haven't received that yet.
from a consistency,
Yeah.
from a consistency standpoint, so, okay.
And just to see the process, because I wasn't here for when Don's.
Okay.
When
All
are
right.
you putting up your, the construction, the new construction?
As soon as we get approved.
Is that, that's not part of the application though, is it? You're just asking for extended hours.
Correct.
I mean,
It's a separate
It's a
application
separate
that we're
issue,
doing.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Right, that would be just a building permit
Yeah.
process and before the building department to review that, because you're not, all you're doing is you're covering an existing area, so they would be just looking at things from that aspect.
It's not an approval that needs to go
Right.
through here,
No.
except the plan is
So,
in each one.
so when do you, probably pretty soon then, you'll
Yeah,
start
we've
construction?
already put that into, speak with Harold about, so we've been in contact.
Yeah, so as soon as the paperwork's done and everything's agreed upon, then we're ready to go.
Okay, all right.
Jeff, who are you seeing as, you know, is there a clientele that you're seeing that wants to eat outside versus inside? Is it just, does it depend on the time of day? I mean, obviously you have what I can see is a pretty robust lunch crowd that likes to eat outside when the weather's conducive for it. But like over this last weekend, it was a pretty nice weekend, so I'm sure your patio was pretty busy.
It was great, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
great weekend for that, and
Are
I
you
actually.
seeing families? Are you seeing couples?
It's
you know?
couples, families, you know, obviously in the beginning of the evening, from 5 to 7, it's, you know, families with young kids, and then as the night goes on, from 7 to 9, it kind of gets more towards people our age, and just having a couple of
That's
glasses
Tony's
of wine.
age, right?
Yeah. And,
We
yeah.
did read out the kids' menu.
So,
Can you-
yeah, I mean, after that, it's really just a normal, I would say, middle-aged crowd
Yeah.
that's there, just having a good time outside.
Okay, so just quickly, it's a good point, just quickly for our purposes, great weekend of weather, great time to go and hang outside. Can you recall, as far as like speakers, is there a standard setup you had out there?
It was just our normal procedure, really.
And they were on? Speakers
They were on,
on?
yeah, and I was
Okay.
there, I actually went to dinner with friends there, just I made a point of not getting up and working, and I just
Okay.
kind of just enjoyed the whole night, and it was great weather, and that's really one of the things I noticed, was that there were a lot of people out there, it
Okay,
was
and
full.
so that was what, Saturday night probably?
That was Friday night. Saturday night it
So-
rained in
Yeah, that's
between,
true. Yeah.
around 8:30, 9
So my
o'clock.
point is, no complaints.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I just wanted to,
What-
for my purpose, a good snapshot of, you know, give me a recent night
Right.
that was busy, potentially loud, maybe a little windy, but nice and packed.
Yeah.
And, just for a frame of reference.
And you stopped serving at 10, is it, or when did you stop serving food?
We did, yes.
No, you stopped serving food at 10?
Outside, stopped serving altogether at 10, outside.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
I mean-
inside, we go right till, you know, whenever we slow down.
Really? Okay.
Usually midnight
All right.
on the weekends.
So yeah, so if you were permitted to go at 1 in the morning, then you would be serving food outside longer as well?
Yeah,
If-
there's really not a lot of people eating food
Yeah.
at 1 in the morning.
I wouldn't think so, but
It's more,
some
you
people
know,
go out late.
maybe some people getting wings or something to go,
Mhm.
or,
Have you, do you know the latest people have been outside on the patio since the weather's been warm? I mean, have you had
Well,
to
we
shoo
can't
anybody off the
with-
patio?
yeah, oh yeah, all the time,
Seriously?
Yeah.
Really?
all
Yeah.
the time.
What do? You just say the time is?
I blame it
Come
on
on
you
in.
guys. you know.
Yeah, all right.
And that's
No,
that's
we just
okay.
say we
We
can't
have
do it
broad,
anymore.
we have broad
and-
shoulders.
And just say it's a town,
And then come back inside?
and you know, I tell them we're working on getting them extended, and they understand, and they have to come inside.
Okay.
On Friday night, how busy were things in the restaurant itself up to what time?
They stay busy on a night like that. They stay busy right up until 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then right around 1 o'clock, it dies down.
Yeah, and during that time, you'll serve food up to what time?
1 o'clock.
Right up to 1 o'clock as well.
And when's your last call? 1?
It's usually around, it's usually, I think it's 2.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's, very rarely do we ever, during the winter sometimes we have, on a Friday night or a Saturday night, 12 o'clock we'll do if there's not a lot of people coming in or a snowstorm or whatever, but it's usually right to 2 o'clock.
Okay.
All right, so we're waiting for some information from Jim. Jim is back in town Thursday night, Friday morning, so we're waiting for some additional information for Jim, so we'll look to get that. And then we'll have some additional dialogue, and we'll, certainly be listening for any input, feedback from any residents that occur, that may occur by way of noise and things like that. And I would say that we'd be looking at being able to have another discussion about this here at the end of the month. So that's where we are.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Board, any other question before Jeff and company leave? Staff, anything from your end that we should be aware of? From your end, anything, any additional information or items?
All set.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the incentive zoning. So I just would like the minutes to show that originally was on as a held item for a number of different meetings. We did receive a request from Steve Philippone, who has essentially said that he no longer has that piece of property under contract. So I brought it up to have it formally withdrawn from the agenda. So at this time, no further action will be taken on that property, the Dublin Road property, with Mr. Philippone. That takes us down to Public Works. We have 36 Meadows and release of a portion of an easement.
Yes. This is part of the Silverwoods neighborhood. This came up just this past week. Is an action item. The property is up for sale. It's come up as a question that typically when you install a storm sewer, you put it down the property line. You share a 10-foot easement on either side of the property. 1205 is actually an address on 5 Mile Line Road. It's actually an existing residence there that just comes deep into the lot that matches up with the back end of it. So the Silverwoods development abutted that property, so the pipe and the easement are wholly on 36 Meadows End. So they have a 20-foot easement that runs down their property line, storm sewer that goes to the back with a basin at the back of it, which ended up that there's a 1.6-foot portion of the home in that 20-foot easement. So
Knock down the house.
Buyers of the property, at least their attorneys, have some concern about having the portion of the home in the easement. I think it's staff's desire to have a home in an easement. So they've submitted paperwork to basically abandon the portion that just goes around the house. I had some of our staff go out and look at it today, thought maybe the pipe was cheated a little bit more towards the property line. That they installed it as they should. It's right down the middle. So the pipe sits about 8 feet off of the foundation of their house. So originally I thought maybe just abandon a 2-foot strip along the whole thing and make it an 18-foot easement. But I think their portion, just to abandon the portion just around the house, keep the 20-foot piece in the front and the back, that gets us access back in there if we do ever have to get in to maintain it. But I don't believe we need to have the easement over the house itself.
I'm fine. That's,
I'm fine with
that's
that.
reasonable. I trust your judgment and what's best.
Okay, so Mark, will you be able to, we'd be able to have a resolution for
Put a
that?
resolution for Friday for next week.
That would be great.
For
So
the abandonment of that easement. And
we'll
they've-
abandon that portion, that roughly 2-foot
And they've
portion.
submitted a description. They had the surveyor ready as a
Great.
prepare a map and description of the piece that you want to abandon. I'll prepare the easement portion of it and get that in to the board.
Great. Excellent, okay. So that will take care of that, so, good, thank you. Other questions, comments for that? All right, very good. So that takes care of that. We do not have any other business before us. Before I adjourn, what I would ask, if we could, Mark, we had that right-of-way transfer at Mott's Lane. We've had it as a held item now for maybe 3 or 4 months. I'd ask maybe that you and Jim Costello was something that Jeff and Kaz were working on.
Okay.
Maybe you could just pick that back up, and if that's something that's still we're looking to move forward with, fine. If not, maybe that's something that we removed as a held item off the agenda, if we could do that. Okay, seeing no further business, nothing to come before the board, May 13th, 2015 meeting stands adjourned at 7:48 p.m. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, staff. And then I would ask if we could have 5 minutes for executive session for a legal matter that we